Hey. Guess what time it is? I don't know. What time is it? It's like 11 for me, or for 11.
It's 8 o'clock for me, sir.
Yeah, well, you're in the past. I'm in the future. Okay,
That
it's
is
night
true.
for me.
That is true.
But-
You've already experienced what I haven't yet.
Yeah, and I'll tell you, it's disappointment all the way in. Disappointment. It's in the whole day of disappointment.
Should I just go back to bed?
And just go back. Don't get out of bed. That was your first mistake. Was to
How did
get
you know?
out
How did you know
bed.
I'm laying down? I have green screen sheets, Dan, and I'm laying down in bed right now.
Yeah, it looks like a Charlie Rose interview behind you. Just the hell was it? What's up with the black background? Anyway,
It's great to see you, Dan. I've missed you.
Yeah, good. Well, I hope in a totally platonic type of way, but yeah, I kind of missed you too
100%.
in a totally platonic way. And this is the AMA, the Ergo AMA, the so famous it's infamous.
I know. Yeah.
Yeah. We're gonna talk about stuff, all things Ergo, and we're also gonna talk about why QX is not wearing a weirdly positioned hat today.
Oh, I have one somewhere.
Yeah. What happened?
I'll get up and get it. I'll get up and get it mid-interview.
Don't get up at all because you're not wearing pants.
I am today. I am because I have to go right to work after this.
Okay.
So
thank God. Okay,
yeah,
fine.
I am graced with pants today.
Thank God. Thank God your wife takes care of you at least that far. 'Cause we just could not. We could not handle it. We could not handle you pantless. It would not be. It would just not be acceptable.
There was a fundraiser for Kushti for new pants. I remember that. That happened a couple of years ago. I still mention once in a while.
Yeah. Actually, I saw Kushti in what is it, in Dubai?
Nice.
It was really nice. Yeah. It was good.
Did he pretend not to know you, or did he talk to you?
No. That only happens to you, QX. In fact, like when we were sharing that one Airbnb in Vegas, I was pretending like I don't know you. I'm like, who the hell are you? Why are you here? I'm going to call the cops. You're trespassing. You're like, come on, Dan. I'm like, you're trespassing. I have no idea who the hell you are.
Well, I mean, the jail cell wasn't that uncomfortable in Vegas. They have some nice cots.
You have a nice warm body to cuddle with, so it's okay.
That's true. Well, so how was Dubai, Dan? How was Dubai? How was Kushti?
Dubai was really good, actually. I mean, Cardano Summit was good, but it was nice because, well, first of all, Kushti was there, and MHS Sam was there. So we were able to, talk business with both.
What a treat.
Yeah, it was really nice. I haven't seen MHS Sam probably for a year, since Turkey. And so I can't remember the last time I saw Alex. And we spoke, we talked quite a bit, but a lot of different things. So, well, of course, Rosen Bridge, but the one thing that we spoke about is, first of all, the different types of assets we can mint on using Ergo aside from commodity-based. So within the commodity sector, but maybe having like doing something like equity tokens, security tokens, these or combination tokens, which would be really interesting. We also spoke about the stable coin that I was talking about, which is really interesting. So we were talking about potentially basing it on Dexy Gold or Gluon, or maybe even the Jet protocol. And so still trying to figure out how it would work. It would basically be a hybrid coin. Would be lithium reserve backed and also algorithmically pegged. And so the reserve would be commodity backed, and it would be partially commodity backed, partially funds backed. So this is actually a really, really good mechanism for bringing in smaller institutions within the space that want to invest. They don't want to commit huge amounts. Or they don't want to commit to one project. So they commit it to the actual stable coin, and then they basically have access to several different projects that are using a stable coin through our partners to fund themselves. Again, it's still really early. We're still trying to figure out how the mechanics would work. I know there's a lot of questions. People have a lot of questions some of them I don't have the answer to. So, but it's still very interesting. It's a very interesting concept, and so we spoke about that. Yeah. So just had some really good conversations. We went to this party that they literally pretty much denied everybody except for us, and like I think I had to pull some strings to get into. And when we got in there were like 8 people there.
It was ultra exclusive, Dan.
It was, yeah, and neither me nor Kushti were drinking that night, so we're just like we're like emptying out their tropical juice bar, you know. We're going. They're like, oh, okay, so you got pineapple juice. We have.
You're drinking all the mixer material.
Yeah. We were mixing fruit juices all night long, talking stable coins. So it was really nice. Yeah, it's just really good. And so we were actually right now, Kushti will be helping us review some of the smart contracts we're putting together for for staking. So that's also going to be really interesting. Another thing that we're actually exploring right now is regulation-wise how to move assets across different chains using Rosen Bridge. So, if say an asset is minted on Ergo, but somebody on ETH wants to hold the asset, and we move it over to ETH, how does that work regulatory wise? Is it like, because it gets a little tricky. So trying to figure that out right now as well. There's a lot of it's getting to a lot of really interesting territory right now.
Right, that you don't even examples of or anything to look at, so you're kind of paving that way.
Yeah, exactly. You're kind of like macheting through the jungle at this point. Yeah. and it's like, okay, so sometimes you don't really even know where to start. Yeah, so but it is interesting. You do get to kind of figure out quite a few things. A lot of those things are, U.S. is still really, really not a good place to do that kind of business because they just don't have clear regulations at all for any of this stuff. It's like well, to which level of the jail will I be sent to for doing this? It's like, will you get sent to like, do you get sent to level 10 jail, or do you get sent to like a country club jail? But it's literally usually that. It's like, no, you can't do that. You can't do that. You can't do that. It's like, okay, what can you do? Well, you can be too big to fail and do that. But yeah, it's still really difficult to do stuff in the U.S. Although there are actually regulations coming online right now in different states that do give some pathway to potentially running some token offerings in the U.S. Some of them are tied to securities. I'm not going to go into it right now, but there's actually one way to do it in the U.S. legally. But it costs like obscene amounts of money, and it takes a really long time, and make sure you don't fuck up or else, jail. Yeah. So, that's that kind of environment. Like, well, why don't I just not do business there at all for now until you guys figure out what the hell you want to do?
Yeah, it's crazy that they're not providing as much clarity as needed.
Well, they're not. So they're not. I mean, yeah. well, look, when you have the SEC on a multi-year witch hunt against the industry, instead of trying to figure out how to put together sensible regulation, that's what you get. You get this you get people like dodging bullets, and that's really what you're doing anytime you do business in the U.S. when it comes to. When it comes to anything that has to do with, with crypto financial instruments, it's like you're dodging bullets. How do we get? I mean, look at these guys. Like, I remember I was at this like founders summit a couple of years ago. A friend of mine put together, and so this was some of these guys were really kind of like high level guys, like I always forget his name, the Ripple guy.
I don't know his name. Yeah,
Yeah, not the one that donated to Kamala Harris, the other one. I always like I see his name, I know exactly who he is, and for some reason my brain just cannot like.
Paul Wesselman?
No, not him. Not him. I think it's like Brad something. Brad. Anyway, so that guy, he was, he's like one. I mean, I'm sure that people know who I'm talking about if you look at if you look him up. He's one of the top guys from Ripple from XRP, and he was talking about how they were
Chris Larson.
No, he's the one that donated to Kamala Harris.
He was the one that donated to Kamala Harris.
Yeah, but there's another one. He's like a guy with the mustache. He's like a really famous guy. It's like Brad something, I think. I always forget his freaking name. I don't know why. It's just so stupid. Anyway, he was actually talking about how they were dealing with the SEC. And he actually said something that was really kind of like, he was saying that they actually went to the SEC. So, I mean, like the whole witch hunt against them by the SEC, has been going on for years. And it turns out that they actually they went to the SEC to figure out how to be regulatorily compliant. Well, anyway, compliant with regulations.
I can guess what happened.
Yeah, and then you know what happened. And these guys did it on their own free will. They went to them and they tried to do it, and they're like, "Oh yeah. Well, let's see how compliant do you want to be? You feel compliant enough right now?
Yeah.
Like, do you feel compliant right now? It's ridiculous. So anyway, I mean, I just hope that there's some sensible regulation that comes.
Oh, Pullman says Brad Garlinghouse is the person you're looking for.
Brad, that's it. Yeah, yep. That's him. Yeah. Brad Garlinghouse. Yeah. He was in this like breakout session that I was a part of, and he was talking about that, and it was just, and everybody's like, you went to the SEC, like, yep, we went, we did, we went, we tried to get Garlinghouse, that's right. Yeah. He says we try to get clarity, and instead we got punched in the face.
Yeah. It reminds me of that meme or saying, like, when it comes to USA and their taxes, right? Like, how much did I make this year? And they're like, we're not going to tell you. Okay, did I make this much? Or do I owe this much? No, you're wrong. Well, if you knew, why didn't you just tell me how much I owe, kind of thing. So it's just
that's kind of sounds like doing crypto taxes in Japan. Like doing crypto taxes in Japan is I went to an accounting lawyer out here, and he was like, I'm like, so how do I do crypto taxes in Japan? It's like, step one, get your crypto out of Japan. Because literally the Japanese English show will tell you, and they did this to somebody I know. He tried to pay taxes on his crypto. He called up the Zemo show and he says, "What do I have to fill out? How do I file how do I file tax on crypto?" Because Japan had this and this is back in probably like 2019 or 2020, and Japan already has this really convoluted a crypto tax, because they started from declaring Bitcoin a legal currency, and then when it actually started getting popular, they got all freaked out, as the Japanese Ministry of Finance likes to do, and they start slapping on regulations like, oh well, but you'll get taxed on Bitcoin, but you don't get you get taxed. You can spend Bitcoin like it's currency, but you get taxed on it like it's a holding. So it's basically a sliding rule between 15 and 55%, and it also depends on the price in the previous year. So basically, if you spend Bitcoin in a bull market and then you're in a bear market, you have to pay bull market taxes on it. So yeah, it's and so they basically told him, they said, hey, so he says, so how do I make it happen? How do I pay taxes? Come in and we'll tell you how. Like, I don't want to come in. Just tell me how. I was like, no, no, we'll tell you how. And so, yeah, I'm gonna come in, and some high school dropout is gonna tell me how much tax I owe, and yeah, yeah, he left Japan because of that. But yeah, it's not just the U.S. that's like this. Unfortunately, it's really widespread, and I just hope that there's going to be some clarity at some point, somewhere in the next few years, because I mean, I just think what's going to happen is all these countries are just going to basically push the industry out and send it to countries that are going to catch up to it, like Southeast Asia,
Mm-hmm.
East Africa. It just it's so stupid. But anyway, I can go on about this for hours. So QX, what have you been up to? What have the Ergonauts? Ergo
The Sigma
it's the
Ergonauts.
Sigmanauts. Yeah, the Sigmanauts been up to now. The Ergonauts. I know what they've been
We're
up
all
to. But
Ergonauts, Dan. All
yeah,
Ergonauts.
I know. I know. Stop correcting me. I know. You don't have to explain to me these things. Okay, I'm
We've
well aware of these things.
Well, we're working on moving off of Padilla Beta. Louis has, if anybody's watching Twitter, you'll see that Louis Vatra put what was it, 500,000 Padilla staking into the new Sigmanauts or the Padilla DAO, maybe even more than that. I can't remember, but a lot. Thousands of dollars worth of Padilla locked into the staking contract for Padilla. So that was his move to show, look, guys, the code is ready. Let's pull out of beta. He switched the domain so that there's a beta.padilla and a normal.padilla. He gracefully and thankfully moved the Sigmanauts DAO over to the production version, so we don't have to pay to do that. That was a very nice donation by their part. And the trick is he used the same token for the beta DAO and the production DAO. So we have two more votes wrapping up. One is to swap all. One's like a reimbursement vote for some server expenses, and the final vote is a vote to send all the money out that's in the DAO to the new DAO, essentially. So once those pass, all the Sigmanauts that are staking in the beta DAO can unstake. Don't unstake until the vote is done, though. And stake again on the full production version of it and get rolling. So super cool, super exciting about that it's up and running, and we're finally out of beta. We can't say when Padilla anymore to Louis Vatra because it's live. And so anybody holding Padilla as well, don't forget, it's not just about running your individual DAO. We have a Sigmanauts DAO, we have a Sigmanauts mining DAO that we're going to move to the final version. There's a Walrus DAO, there's a Rosen Guard DAO, there's a bunch of DAOs in there. Don't forget there's also an overarching Padilla DAO, right? And if you hold Padilla tokens, you have voting power in this DAO. And if you've been paying attention, there's been 3 or 4 votes already because you can change the configuration properties. We just changed the staking payout to 50% on the overall Padilla DAO. On that DAO, we just changed a few other things as well. But you literally vote with your Padilla token, so it's super cool. Unlike where the Sigmanauts DAO that we hand out 1 staking token to everybody, so everybody has an even amount of votes. The Padilla DAO, you literally vote with your staked Padilla token. So if you stake 20,000 Padilla tokens, you vote with 20,000 token voting power. So that's really exciting that Padilla's out. People coming over across chain, hopefully with Rosen, will see that they can create DAOs based on their Rosen token if they want to. So no need to create a whole nother token. Just say, hey, we're a project from Ethereum and we want this amazing fully on-chain DAO system that you guys have built. And we're just going to use our Rosen whatever token to do the DAO. And then people who come over with their fair share of tokens can use and vote in the system and even get staking rewards for doing that. So I think that's going to be a really cool thing once as the ecosystem livens up with more users that they'll see and partake in. What else happened? Joe is making, you saw the other day, Joe in Rosen Bridge announced that they're going to be doing their best to list a bunch of ergo-centric projects on Rosen Bridge. I know that's been a question for a while. He listed a bunch of stuff like Greasy GIF, which is part of Greasy Sex, Padilla, Gluon, Cyberverse, all those great projects that we know and love, hopefully will be coming to Rosen Bridge so that you can essentially, if you use Rosen Bridge right now as your access from the US to get ergs, you can go straight to, come over, do a swap on the other chain and come straight into your project if you want to, or gives those projects a chance to open up on other ecosystems. So those kind of things are killer for things like Cyberverse, who now can say, hey, you can get our token on Ethereum or on Cardano, or soon on Binance, right? You saw that? Binance soon? They minted Rosen Binance, so that's exciting as well. What else is up on the SIGs? Have I been here a while? We've officially hired 2 people on the Sigmanauts with a salary. We've hired Mark the Shark to run the SIGs mining DAO and pool. So another shout out for the SIGs mining pool. If anybody is mining and listening and wants to mine, not only does the SIGs mining pool have storage rent integrated, where we pick up an extra, sometimes as much as an erg or 2 a day, sometimes 3 or 4 ergs a day, depending on how robust the 4-year-old UTXOs are. Those get integrated into a wallet, and then I think they were voted on how to distribute them. We also have something called bonus tokens, which were tokens donated by projects that just randomly give out to people as well. So I think Cotelier donated 10 million comment. I donated 9.5 million comment to it, and there are some other tokens in there as well. So those will get all spread out. So we're trying just to make it, kind of worthwhile to and fun to mine to our pool, the Sigmanauts pool, get those extra things. So please do that. So that's Mark the Shark. He's running that. And then we have Jake the Snake, who's going to be doing more of our kind of organizational comptroller kind of things, where looking into setting up some sort of DAO or LLC or some sort of company in the Cayman Islands, that kind of thing, so that the Sigmanauts can sign things and perhaps take on the risk for things like exchange listings or anything like that. It's better if 2 groups can do it as opposed to just relying on something like the EF. Especially since the Sigmanauts are decentralized and DAO run. So I think that would be neat. So that's new coming out of the SIGs there. What else? I think that's about it this week. I was in the city this week, so missed a couple days online when I was working, hustle and busting. The New York City.
You don't even know how to spell New York. What state is it in?
Oh, damn it. You got me there, Dan.
See, I know it's all bullshit. So what about Ergo Hack? What's going on?
Ergo Hack is done. I think we're just waiting. Andy just pinged me earlier today and said that a couple people need help making videos. So I may reach out to them and bug the piss out of them and offer recording sessions with them so that we can get them on video. And once that happens, I think they can continue on with that. We had a talk in the SIGs about doing another community vote, but that was right before I left, so we didn't get too far into that. But you may see another Padilla vote based on a community vote for that, so that'll be fun. Kind of community rewards, maybe even do a fundraiser for it to see if the community wants to pitch in. But yeah, soon nice. For those results.
Nice. All right, let's see. Do we have any questions?
Oh, let's see. Don't forget, Louis says, remember Blue Sky Tipbot. Yes, Louis wrote integrated Tipbot with Blue Sky. So for those of you that are sick of Twitter or X, head over to Blue Sky and you can use Louis' Tipbotter there, just like it used to work in X, where you comment on somebody's post with tagging the Tipbot and what token and how much you want to tip, and it does it for you. Super cool there. Thank you, Louis. Thank you very much. For those of you that wondered why, I think there's been some questions of why Tipperbot's not back on Twitter. And the deal was the SIGs had agreed to pay Louis to help maintain it, which is like $100 a month. But any overusage, unspecified, like what's that threshold? Who the fuck knows? We got banned. So the worry that is that if we keep on, redoing accounts and making new accounts and paying for it, we're just going to continue to get banned again as Tipbot gets more popular and more popular. So I mean, there's no incentive to do that. What's the point if we're just going to keep getting kicked down without any clarity? So I think Louis still has a ticket in from a year ago when it happened, and they haven't answered it. So that's kind of what we're dealing with there. Classic. And then the big news, right, guys? You guys have seen Mark's comments on Twitter the other day. Was that yesterday or the day before, Dan?
Probably no. It was a couple of days ago.
So Mark from Kraken is retiring off of his current position, and. Yep. And somebody wrote him and was like, when Ergo? And he's like, well, now that I love Ergo, and now that I'm not in that position with a conflict of interest, I'm going to go out and get a bag. So that was really nice to see that recognition there. And then I commented on it with the main account and said something like, you're going to buy it from Kraken, right? When you buy it. And then he tagged the new guy and said, when Ergo or something like that. So that was a really cool exchange. I'm going to try to engage with the new person when his DMs open up, which should be soon from what I understand. And we'll see where it goes there. Let's get Ergo over the finish line and get us listed on Kraken in the US so that I don't have to go through something like Simple Swap or even though I love Rosen Bridge, it'd be nice to buy it direct and then send it direct to my wallet, as you know in experience. So that's really fun, guys. Keep up the positivity on Twitter. Let's not get incel-ish when it comes to this kind of stuff. Ergo can sell itself with what we do and how we do it. There's no reason to get petty and weird with it. So keep up the engagement there, the positive engagement there, and we'll bring it across the finish line. Looking forward to it.
All right. Well, let's move to some questions here. We have a couple of top here. Let's see. Wendy Moon asks, when Charles Age becomes the crypto advisor to the White House, will he still answer phone calls from Dan? So once he moves to being the White House advisor, we're going to move directly to mental telepathy, so he won't have to answer phone calls. Just like in that Academy Award, should have gotten Academy Award, but was snubbed by the Academy, Holmes and Watson. When Holmes is talking to his brother through telepathy. That's how I'm going to be talking to Charles once he gets into the White House. As
you guys are connected like this, right?
Yeah. No, not like that. Mentally, don't take this. Don't take this into the gut, right to the gut of QX. Just don't. Just stay out of the gutter.
That's great.
Right.
Charles has always been a great advocate for Ergo, commenting and recognizing kind of the bleeding cutting edge that Ergo is. So it's always great to hear from Charles when he mentions Ergo. I think he did it recently on a podcast last week as well.
He did.
He mentioned it.
It's not a podcast. It's a YouTube AMA, but
Sorry, I'm an old man.
It's a podcast.
It's a Nintendo. Sure it's a Game Boy. Everything's a Game Boy, Dan.
Yeah, are you sure it's not a Winamp cast?
A Winamp cast. So it's always great to hear Charles talk about Ergo, and it shows that he's still following it and checking up on it and seeing how we're doing, and it's those kind of things are. They feel very genuine. Like when he says stuff, he knows he's been watching and seeing what we're doing, kind of thing. So that's always good to see. And if Charles goes to that position, that's even better. That's fantastic. Yeah. So super exciting.
All right. Question for Dan. Will he allow MG Pi to take a break from Zeng Gate development? Comet needs his slave dev back.
Well, you
When
just shackled and sent LGD over to Japan, right?
when
Poor
he's
little guy.
90, when he's 90, that's when you can have him back. When he's 90, when
Hmm.
he's 90, bro, that's when you can have him back. Okay. Until
Poor
then,
Dan.
he's going to be working deep, deep, deep in the mines of Zeng Gate, cranking out code and liking it. That's it. All right, that's it. And we might let him out for a little, a little walk here and there, but
Hopefully,
code.
just wants MG Pie back so he can code him another lottery that he can win.
Yeah, well, get your own coding uh slaves. No, that's not politically correct. Coding willing participants that cannot go code for anybody else for free because you keep them occupied with work and
Perfect.
send threatening letters to their pet vegetables. No.
It's a great way to
Anyway.
keep MG Pie in the ecosystem, Dan.
Yeah. All right.
Leave.
Let's see. So this is kind of an interesting question. So Ursa Minor asks, can you comment on the pros and cons of self-hosted Mixer on Ergo versus Midnight Network that is being developed as some sort of deliberately cross-chain privacy solution like a modern Monero? So, I mean, and maybe, QX, you can elaborate on this a little bit more, but really, I mean, the utility here for me speaks for itself. Ergo Mixer has a very specific utility. It's very just straightforward. Midnight is a chain. It's got a bunch of different, a bunch of tooling in it. It has this whole partner chain. I forgot what they call it, partner chain or parachain mechanism in it. So I mean, they both deal with privacy, of course, but I just the one is like it's like asking what do two these completely different things? To me, they're completely different. Do I mean what are your thoughts on that, QX?
Yeah, they're pretty different, right? So Mixer exists on Ergo to provide how do you say that word? I guess you'd say privacy. Anonymity. Is that the word?
Anonymity.
Anemone. So Mixer exists on Ergo for that as an option, right? It's strong enough, I think. The tech is there so that you could integrate it into something like, let's say you have a supply chain, Dan, and you want to hide some things from the public, I guess. It's totally different though. Yeah, it's really different than Midnight. You wouldn't use Mixer for that kind of thing. Mixer's there to provide privacy to you, period, as your choice. And think of it as that kind of base. Whereas Midnight's around to kind of still allow for compliance with governments and provide kind of privacy when you have trade secrets or process flows that you want to keep private, right? So they're kind of different. I wouldn't. I mean, you probably could use Mixer for something and mimic some of the things that Midnight does, but yeah, they're the same in that they'll provide privacy for things, but they're different in kind of the scale that they do it on and the intent there. So yeah, Mixer is probably not government compliant, I'm gonna say. So that's one big difference there. Yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, like I said, I mean, you summed it up really well, a lot more articulately than me, even though it cannot say anonymity.
That's a tough one, Dan.
Well, not for, people that are older than 10. But anyway, we won't go to that anymore. Yeah. So yeah, just different things. Different things have to do with the same basic area,
Principle.
but different things. Yeah. Exactly, principle, but different things. Yeah. Luke Graysmith asks, when ketamine retreat? Seriously, and this is, I mean, of course, we're not like, jumping on a plane and flying over and getting messed up and having experiences thinking we're wolves or anything. But actually, me and Sam were kind of talking about that. We're like, you know what? That might actually be really interesting. It's just if it's obviously, to do it like Charles did it under supervision and like as a treatment would be kind of interesting. So not never, not never. But when, I don't know, but definitely not never.
Can you fill me in? What happened? Charles went on a ketamine retreat where he microdosed ketamine.
Where have you been?
Dude, I live under a rock sometimes. Come on.
You do.
Sometimes I just focus so hard.
What the hell? What do you even do, QX? What the Charles went on this so he like a few weeks ago was getting a lot of shit online and on Twitter and because this was before the price started to move up, because as soon as the price starts moving up, everybody gets into bullish mode and everybody forgets that like 2 days ago the same people are shitting all over.
I know. And, yeah.
And nothing, nobody can do anything right, but 2 days later it's like bull posting and everything is forgotten, like we're
Charles is Jesus now.
Like we can't remember anything past 2 days.
I know.
Anyway, so he had this thing and it got like really negative, and sometimes this kind of stuff happens in the Cardano community, well, in all communities. Ergo does the same thing. Cardano does the same thing. You're just going to get this like the the mob. You get the socials mob.
Oh yeah, Kushner gets blamed for stuff all the time. Glasgow, everybody does. It's crazy.
Yeah. Well, so Charles went offline for like a week or something after that because it was his birthday and he went on vacation. He just said, "I'm going offline, and when I come back, my interactions are going to be different." And so he left, and then when he came back, we found out that apparently he went away on a ketamine retreat, and he was doing this ketamine therapy for how long, and he came back as like V2.0 mellow Charles with this like totally different perspective on things, making peace with everybody,
wow.
kind of like, just
that sounds fantastic.
Projects. I mean, just really like, and so it's been, so the buzz has been ketamine. And so one of the things he actually did in one of the AMAs that he was doing is he was describing his experience while he was in the during the ketamine therapy. He thought he was a wolf. He became a wolf.
Wow.
And so that's where the wolf meme came from.
I gotcha. Well, that sounds like fun. Let's see what we can go. So, Armenio has offered a place in Colorado. He's got a large church that we can utilize and have an Ergo retreat.
Yeah, but you go to Colorado and you do like ketamine on Armenio's property, and then you're gonna wind up and in like that movie, the great, what is it, the deadliest game, or what was it,
the human centipede, you mean? Yeah.
No, that maybe that too, but mostly what was that?
Yeah, where you get there's a story about a short story where the rich.
Yeah, and then there was another one with Ice-T. About like the rich people that would hire a dude, and then like actually turned out that they took him to an island and they were hunting him.
Oh yeah.
I forgot what that movie was called.
That's right. We could end up like that.
Yeah. So like you don't want to be going to. I just have the sneaking feeling that you go to Armenio's mountain and you get on ketamine, and then you might end up being the game. You might be hunted. He might come at you with a trident. You never know. So I don't know. I mean, I like Armenio. He's a good guy, but I just
you can't trust those guys. Those mountain men, right?
You can't trust those guys not to go like primal on you in that type of situation. Not to go Lord of the Flies on you in that type of situation.
Speaking of Joe Armenio, I think people. I was sitting there last night. Tired out of my mind, in bed, just going through a few things before passing out. And I'm going through Twitter, and I came across an old post of Rosen Bridge. Maybe somebody reposted it recently, but they listed with green check boxes chains they've bridged to and chains they're going to. I don't think people recognize what truly what Rosen Bridge is going to do and what it is. I mean, just the thought of any token on any chain eventually in the future can go anywhere, right? There's absolutely zero boundaries for this. You launch on a chain that has tooling that you like and works well, but then you want to integrate with a community on another chain, no problem. Rosen Bridge goes there and can do it. So that's just on that kind of spread developer kind of mindset. Now imagine when Rosen has something like fiat on-ramps integrated into it. So you show up to the Rosen website, you put in your credit card with something like MoonPay, whatever, and then you exit wherever the hell you want to, wherever you want to, and it's ready for you. With what is it? They're coming out with Fastlane as well at some point, which is an opportunity for people to bridge tokens early in anticipation. So Dan, if you have 200 million ADA, and
I don't, but okay, if I do, theoretically, hypothetically,
and you have 100,000 that you're not staking, you just kind of use it to pay for whatever. You can send
whatever.
Okay. You can set, if there's a good yield, you could send that over the bridge early, right? And you would get a percentage of somebody else going over the bridge that says, I want this in 5 minutes instead of 45 minutes over the bridge. So I want to switch my ADA for Rosen ADA right over the bridge as fast as I can without any wait. So just sitting there thinking about how people, I mean, I'm sure a lot of people get it, but what Rosen Bridge is and what it's going to become is going to be a massive kind of bridging juggernaut. That's not just bridging, but hopefully an on-ramp as well. And yeah, you should hear some of the stuff Joe talks about, right? If anybody's interested. So make sure you follow Joe. He's got a lot of good snippets there about what he's thinking about for the bridge and how it works. So
that's it. Yeah. Surviving the Game, 1994, Ice Cube, and
oh gosh, Dan, we're still on that.
Oh God! Oh my God! Oh my God! Rutger Hauer. That's it. Rutger Hauer was in that. It's a good movie. I like that movie. Oh, F. Murray Abraham was in that too. That was like, it was like a '90s All Stars in there. It's a lot of good actors.
Yeah.
I mean, the script was ridiculous, but it was actually it turned out to be kind of suspenseful because there's a lot of good actors in it. Yeah. So they made the best out of it. Yeah, but yeah, Surviving the Game. That's the one. Thank you.
But not just to finish up what I was talking about, not just to as far as projects go. Now imagine your Cyberverse, right? And you've instead of saying, we're going to connect to Cardano and you're going to do things with ADA on our game. So if you go to Cyberverse and you look at their skins, you can buy things in ADA, you can buy things in Ergo, you can buy things in CYPX, right? So now imagine Cyberverse goes on the bridge and it opens them up to Ethereum, it opens up to Binance, it opens them up to Cardano, opens them up to whatever other chain they're connected to. Now Cyberverse doesn't have to say, okay, we're going to get payment in ADA, we're going to get payment in ERGs. They can then switch to simply CYPX. They can say, look, we're opened up to all these ecosystems. We're only going to accept payment for these skins in Rosen CYPX or CYPX on the Ergo chain. Simple as that. All they have to do is build wallet connectors for those chains and they're done. They don't have to worry about accepting the chain's native token. They accept their own token that has been bridged and they're golden. So think about, that's the only tech they're building in essentially, is that wallet connector from there. So it's super cool to think of those possibilities of opening multi-chain for these projects. Same with Padilla, right? Same kind of thing. So yeah. Super excited. Sorry, Dan, back to questions.
Yeah. Well, so Surviving the Game, 1994, Rutger Hauer, F. Murray Abraham, and Ice-T. All right. So we have a first-time T-Rock, first-time posting on AMA. In your opinion, what will be the strong driving forces that will propel Ergo to excel in 2025 bull run? Yeah. Yes.
Yeah, I think people, I think as more and more people onboard to crypto, they're starting to lose that kind of, I think these, I don't want to say meme projects and fast cash are like old news, but at some point during all these kind of things, when something new comes along and there's a cash grab and a major rush for these kind of things, the dust eventually settles, right? So my theory is that in crypto space, the dust will eventually settle, which it is, and we can see we get more people that are interested in chains that actually do something, chains that are actually secure. You get those kind of things that still shine through the dust at the end of the day. And when all that settles, people look and they see Ergo and they're like, holy shit, here's this proof of work chain that doesn't stop through a bear market. They're still building like crazy and making amazing things. I mean, look at the 4 or 5 Ergo hacks we had during the bear market. Absolutely amazing what was built. And they see that it's secure. It's secured by actual physical hash rate done by converting electricity into tokens, into coins that you can then use on the chain that anybody can do. And it's not a money printer as far as that goes, fixed rate. And things like sub blocks, right? Where one of the big pain points is people don't like average 2-minute block times. So ordering the blocks, making them faster, giving that opportunity there. I think people are going to sit back and eventually, slowly, from what I see in socials and what I see in chats, recognize that, okay, we're past the point of just scamming and money grabs and that kind of thing. Let's see what crypto can really be used for. And when people look at crypto projects, Ergo is definitely a standout project when it comes to that. With Mixer, with Rosen Bridge, with things like Cyberverse, with SigmaFi loans, P2P bonds, with duck pools, pooled lending, all smart contract based. There's nobody over there that can pull a plug and be like, oh, you're done, or I'm going to block you, or anything like that. With things like Mu Finance, who's doing escrow trades, who's doing physical items that actually selling off-chain assets on-chain and shipping them out that way. So Ergo just has so many damn cool things by so many creative people that I think it's inevitable for people when they look at us to be like, holy shit, how did I miss this whole time?
So you can say inevitable, but you can't say anonymity?
Anemone.
That's that town where Jaws was from in New York. Anyway, yeah, that's probably too old of a reference for most people on this. But anyway, yeah, from my end, well, look, the rugs, they're not going to stop. There's always going to be rugs. There's always going to be people gambling. There's always going to be people scamming. It's money. You know, it's money. Whenever you have money, you always have an element that tries to steal it. That's just the nature of it, right? You'll never have. I mean, look, I got money stolen from me in Japan, and Japan has got like one of the lowest crime rates in the world. Like people literally leave wallets and cell phones on the table at Starbucks to save their seat while they go and get their stuff. Like literally, when I go overseas, I have to make a mental note for myself, like a conscious mental note for myself, not to do that. Don't leave valuables unattended, because in Japan you can do that. Nobody will touch it, except for one time when I left my bag unattended and somebody stole $100 at a party. So it goes to show you that even in a place like this, where it's like, really culturally, you don't steal in Japan because in the old days you would get, katana'd for stealing. So that's why it's ingrained as like, don't steal or you get katana'd. So there's always going to be that. But you are right about. With this cycle, it's a bit different. We've been through these different cycles. First, that was just kind of like we can make this actually is worth something. Crypto is actually worth something cycle. Then it was we can actually make other stuff besides Bitcoin cycle. then it's this like, oh, actually we can make other stuff that's not Bitcoin, that it will actually also have value cycle and has other utilities aside from what Bitcoin has, like smart contracts and stuff. And then we went through the cycle. It's like, oh, well, wait a second. You can actually make assets on these chains that people ape into, like JPEGs and stuff, and metaverse and all this stuff, right? And it moves money, and there's millions and billions and bajillions of dollars moving across. It's like a casino, right? I mean, really, all it was a casino. Because look, if you actually went, okay, so people say, oh, I keep NFTs, because I like the art. Like, I keep NFTs because I like the art, and they're worthless, but I keep them because I like the art. Most people didn't buy whatever they were, the punks or whatever, those pixelated piece of shit things that were sold for millions. They didn't buy it for the art. They bought them for the money. There was had nothing to do with art. It had everything to do with money. And it had to do with this mentality of gambling. And that's why chains like Solana are up right now, but it's not sustainable because it's based on gambling. It's a shitcoin casino. But sooner or later, if there is there's nothing beyond that, then it's just going to fade away, because sooner or later you're going to have enough frogs. You're going to have enough. It's the same thing that happened. And I know it's kind of a stretch, right? But it's kind of the same thing that happened with the Zeppelin. Back in the 30s, the Zeppelin was like one of the top ways to travel, right? And I was actually reading on this, because I like historic aviation stuff, and I was reading on it, and I was just kind of reading up on why did Zeppelin travel end? Like, when did it stop, and why did it end, and how much was there? And there was actually quite a bit. And actually, Germany was one of the leaders of Zeppelin air travel, and there are all these companies around that, and then they had Zeppelins, going intercontinental and everything. This was before, commercial airliners, obviously. Why did it end? You're thinking it's like, oh, it's kind of cool, it's luxurious, it's like, yeah, but it was also super dangerous, and one of them blew up, the Hindenburg. And really, the Hindenburg, historically, that one event killed the entire Zeppelin industry, the whole thing. Like, it literally ended with the Hindenburg. An entire, I don't even know how long it was, over a decade of a standard of travel ended with one accident that scared so many people to shit that nobody wanted to touch it anymore. And if you think about it, I mean, when you have kind of technology that, I mean, they knew it was filled with freaking flammable stuff. Like, they knew it was flammable, right? But they just were like, well, but, it hasn't blown up yet. And it is really cool, and we're making a bunch of money with it. So let's just keep doing it. And we're ahead. Germany's like, yeah, we're ahead. We're ahead in air travel. So, yeah. But then it blew up, and nobody wanted to deal with it. I mean, that's what happens when you filled with, well, not hot air, but when you filled with stuff like that. And so that's what's going to happen. That is what ultimately will happen. I mean, it's not going to die completely, but as soon as sentiment shifts, that's it. That's it. If it shifts to something that is actually more tangible and more sustainable, that's it. Because how the fuck are meme coins sustainable? How are they tangible? It's a shitcoin casino. So when the shitcoin, when the chips stop flying and the rugs start sucking in, like sucking in the money more than money comes out. When more money goes in than comes out, people are going to say, well, screw this. And then it's going to shift. It's going to shift to chains that actually make a difference, like Ergo. And even now it's happening. Now, I mean, that's why you have this, RWA, big RWA and deepen sentiment and interest in this particular bull run. That's why, everybody's like, who's anybody's getting into RWAs. I mean, Zeng Gate's been doing it for 3 years. We were doing it before it was popular. Now everybody's into RWAs. It's like that one skit from what's his name, Oliver, whatever, about crypto, where there was a time when we just put like crypto in the name, and the price of whatever you have goes up. Some bar in Long Island changed their name to Crypto Bar and or something like that, and the patronage went up. Here, that's what's happening. You have this revolution of people are saying, okay, so we actually already been through that with JPEGs. We already been through that with NFTs. So they inflated and then they popped, and now most of them are completely worthless. And even ones that are still worth a bunch of money, it's like exponentially less than they were worth before. How do we hedge this? How do we take this money out that we made through the shitcoin casino and hedge it so it's actually wealth that we retain? Because those of you who have been through several bull and bear markets, you know that the first one or two markets, you go from like, bling, bling to holy shit to what happened. And you think when the market is up, oh man, goodbye, goodbye poor, goodbye poverty, hello prosperity, and then all of a sudden it goes back down like shit. I didn't save enough, I didn't hedge enough, and then it's like whoa, 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 okay, man. I mean, I have a little bit more, but not enough, and that's that's essentially what like how it goes. But here you have a clear ability to hedge. With things like Rosen Bridge, for example, it's clear utility. It's utility that bridges all these different chains that really kind of it eliminates these barriers that were around for years, for over a decade. It eliminates that. That is true utility. RWA tokenization, that is true utility. That is for the first time you're combining real world assets with on-chain utility, and it's a solution that's needed. The same with DPIN, the same with tokenized other tokenized assets, like tokenized stocks. So I mean, really, why tokenize stocks? Why do this? Well, it's all about barriers of entry. If you think about it, some people don't understand, well, who cares? Well, you can just go buy stocks, you can just invest in a company. Yeah, but it's a barrier of entry. That's what it's about. Because now you can offer opportunities to retail that were not offered to them before, because they're just not, they were, like, for example, back in the day, you would have to be an accredited investor to be able to get these opportunities. And some of you that have had money know that, you make money from money. Most of the time, it's like you make money from money. If you have money and it's sitting around and you're kind of in that sphere where, the money sphere, those opportunities pop up. And they pop up more than if you didn't have money. And then you have all these opportunities. You're like, well, you know what? If you think about it, yeah, I made all this money that I wouldn't even dream about back in the day, but I wouldn't have made it if I wasn't here. I couldn't have made it if I was here. I had to have been here in this situation to make it. Well, now you don't have to be here in this situation to make it. You can still be here and have access to here because of technologies like fractional ownership, like tokenization, like Rosen, that basically gives you access to different assets and different chains. So, I mean, I think that is what's going to lead this bull market, is going to lead a more sustainable crypto market. And that's what's going to be the driving force behind Ergo, because Ergo is primed. I mean, we have all this stuff. We have all of this. It is secure. It is well written. It is robust, and it is available. And so, I mean, yeah, I think that's essentially going to be what puts us on top is. I think we're finally at a place where we are out of these, or we're getting out of the woods of who gives a shit when do numbers go up as much to utility.
And our guest, as Kent just said, that the thing about the Zeppelins is that the Hindenburg happened at the exact same time the airplane started to be developed. There was a replacement ready to take over. So, we're not saying that crypto is a Hindenburg. We're saying that some projects in the way that
I'm saying Solana is Hindenburg, not crypto.
Correct. So Ergo is that replacement. Ergo is there, primed to go, ready to go.
Yeah, exactly. Ergo is the airplane. Ergo is the airplane. Solana is the Hindenburg. Yeah,
there you go. All right, what else we have here?
Well, I think we're
Are you getting tired?
There. Well,
we got a couple more questions in here. Let's see.
Okay.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, we do. Okay.
Ahmed says Dan's background is the same as Charles Hodgkin's background. Is that a bullish message?
It's not, but thanks for asking. What?
It's a
What is he talking
room.
about?
I don't know.
Yeah, it's a room. An American flag doesn't mean Charles's background. Look there. I just
let's see
haven't.
what else. What else do we have?
What else do we have?
I'm looking. Are you looking? It's a lot of chatter today. That might be it. Did we miss something up top?
No, I think we're good. I think we're good.
Well, let me do my quick spiel about utilizing the ecosystem that I like to bore people with real quickly.
Yeah, bore the shit out of me, please, QX.
All right, yeah, I'll send you to bed, Dan. Everybody, my weekly spiel that I have invested most of my tokens into.
What?
Can you hear me?
Yeah, unfortunately. Yeah, definitely. Go ahead.
I've invested most of my tokens into projects, and I knew at first that was very scary, right? It's scary because the scarcity of Ergo is real, right? It's you go to exchange, you try to buy it, you can swing the price if you buy a couple $1,000s worth. It's scarce, right? So by the time you get your Ergs and you've held them through fluctuations, you don't want to get rid of them. I understand that, right? But as somebody who's invested 98% of their ergs into ecosystem projects like CYPX, like Rosen, like PoW Finance, those kind of things, Quacks, all that kind of stuff, I can tell you that after all these pumps and swings and down cycles and up, on average, I am better than I would be if I was just holding ergs. So that's circumstantial, of course, but I'm saying that because I don't want you to be afraid to actually utilize the ecosystem, right? Utilizing the ecosystem means that things like Cyberverse succeed, things like PoW Finance succeed, and when they succeed, the sentiment for the chain and the trust of the chain goes up, which in turn rises the value of the chain as a total, which, as we all know, in this kind of situation, a rising tide elevates all ships, right? So use that ecosystem, hop into Cyberverse, play it, get a skin, list something on PoW Finance, anything like that. Put out some, if you don't feel like doing that, go to Sigmafy and lend somebody SigUSD and collect 30% interest on it, like some ridiculous amounts of interest. Go to duck pools, borrow some SigUSD or ergs and see the interest that you can collect there. There are so many tools in place right now to have your ergs work for you. They do not have to sit in your wallet, right? Utilize them. It's essentially like keeping $1 million in your checking account, right? You don't do that unless you're like Elon Musk rich, right? And you don't give a shit. But if you're a normal investor and you have $1 million, you don't keep it in your damn checking account because it's like minuscule interest. Put it out in the ecosystem, utilize it so that it makes money for you, right? If you're not into gaming, if you're not into shopping or anything like that, then at least, put it into the finance section of Sigmafy, of duck pools, that kind of stuff. Yeah, there's my spiel. Don't be afraid, guys. It's really fun to participate in the ecosystem.
Yeah, don't be afraid unless QX follows you down a dark alley. Then be afraid.
Yeah, I'd be afraid there. Dan woke up in the middle of the night in Vegas, and I was staring at him over his bed.
That's why I locked my door. Okay, this is why I was locking my door, and it had the chair up against it. Anyway, all right. Well, I think it's a good place to leave it off for tonight, or for today, for this week.
Yes.
All right, guys. Well, thanks for all the questions. Thanks for joining. Thanks for wearing a blanket, QX.
This is my my wife's country. This was gotten.
That's not your wife's
Peru.
country. That's a poncho or whatever.
It's from Cusco, Peru, for any Peruvians out there watching.
Yeah, Cusco.
Shout out to Cusco. My wife's from Chiclayo, which is about a bit north of Lima.
Not Chiclayo, Czechoslovakia. Okay, and it doesn't even exist anymore.
Oh, Van Hexus said that his boss just got back from Osaka.
Oh, well, there you go. We actually, the reason I know is because our original Zeng Gate office, which was the original Cardano office, was literally down the street from there, like literally. So that's how I know, because then they when they built it, I'm like, Lucid. Okay. Because it's a really nice storefront, and you see all the cars and like, oh, it's interesting because that street actually is full of kind of exotic car dealerships. There's a Ferrari, there's a McLaren there, there's a Lamborghini dealership.
They're all
There's
your cars.
like like a bunch of a bunch of super expensive cars. Yeah, and there's a Lucid dealership on that street. So anyway, very cool cars.
Well,
All right,
everybody,
guys.
thanks again
Thanks
for
a
watching.
lot. Thanks for watching. Thanks for something, QX. Something.
Thanks for everything. See you guys in
All right,
chats during the
guys.
week. And this weekend, I might put out a dev update, or maybe Mark the Shark will take over and put one out. We'll see. I think he offered in chat, but I forgot to answer him. So we'll see.
Yeah.
We'll get more of those dev updates out. I know it's
Yeah,
here
and
and
when you
there
do,
every
make
couple
sure you wear
weeks.
pants. Make sure you wear pants.
No,
Okay?
dev
We need
updates. I
you.
don't wear pants, Dan. We don't wear pants on dev updates.
Yeah, I knew it. I knew it. All right, guys.
Transparency.
Well, thanks a lot. And so, that's it for this week. But next week, same time, same place, same channel. And until then, this is me, Dan, from Osaka, Japan, signing off.
Ciao.